AITA for smoking in my backyard? Throwaway account just in case. F27. Live in a house with my husband. I'm a heavy smoker, but I don't smoke in the house because my husband doesn't like the smell and I don't want him breathing secondhand smoke. He's a non-smoker. I usually smoke cigs in our backyard. One of our neighbors slid a passive-aggressive note through our letterbox last week, saying something along the lines of, "My children just wanted to play in our backyard. Thanks for exposing them to cancer. I hope you're happy." I had no idea which neighbor this was. None of our neighbors had talked to us about this. I decided to ignore the note and continue to smoke in my backyard. Then 4 days ago, one of our neighbors knocked on our door and complained, and said I shouldn't smoke in my backyard because their kids play in their backyard. I think my neighbor is being unreasonable. Our backyards are pretty large, and I smoke right in the center of my backyard, so the smoke has more space to disperse. I think my neighbor is only complaining because they can see me smoking over our fence. AITA? Edit to add. I don't have a front yard or a garage. Technically, if I smoked on my front porch, I'd be breaking the law in our country because there's a children's park less than 20 meters away. It's across the road right in front of my house. Edit to add. By cig, I meant cigarette, not cigar. I don't smoke cigars. NTA. It's your yard. You're outside. Definitely NTA. PS no judgment. But I hope you quit one day. For your own health. Edit. Sincere congratulations to all of you Redditors replying to my comment with your stories of quitting. Whether you've been tobacco-free for 30 years or for 30 minutes. Good for you. Unfortunately, you have the right to smoke your cigarettes in your yard. It definitely can be smelled a long ways away. Your neighbors probably smelled it far longer than you have them lit. My former neighbor would smoke stinky weed constantly. He moved away last fall, and this was the first summer clear of it in 9 years. It's absolutely marvelous to be outside and not breathing in the pungent aroma any longer. There are fences and trees between our properties. Never saw him, but everyone could distinctly smell it. It's legal where I live. Edit. Because my brain is still asleep. Esh. Buy one of those ashtrays that pulls in and filters the smoke. It will not completely eliminate all odor, but it will help. My mill had an ashtray that sucked up the fumes, and her home never had any odor. I don't smoke and am pretty sensitive to the smoke. Could be a workable solution. Esh. Smelling other people's cigarette smoke is gross. I wouldn't want me or my kids breathing it in either. Yes, you're technically within your rights to smoke in your yard, but you're lying to yourself if you think it's not bothering or affecting other people in the vicinity. Technically NTA, but I would hate it too. Smell of smoke is overwhelming to me from even within 30 feet. I don't even know how to judge this one, so I'm just going to throw out some observations. Smokers are not always aware how far smoke travels. I yelled at my brother for smoking outside when his smoke came through my second floor window. Partly because I was already emotionally exhausted from a couple of days of avoiding smoking people, and partly because it totally caught me by surprise. I definitely did not see him, and he was around the corner from me. I always smell the smoke from drivers in the car ahead of me, to the point that I now drive with AC and recirculated air regardless of weather. But I have fought this battle for so long that I have no room left for compromise. So I know I am a complete asshole about smoking. There is no real compromise with smoking, because smoke is a binary. It is there or it is not. The world has had 60 years of me suffering smoke, and from now on the smoking world is going to experience not smoking whenever they are with me. I'm done. You should be able to smoke somewhere. My preference is the privacy of your own home. But you have chosen to live with a non-smoker. Your neighbor's kids should not have to experience your smoke in their own yard. Maybe, once you recover from the rudeness of your neighbor, you can consider the topology of your yard and the reality that smoke travels, and try to mitigate that fact. It would be the kind response. Or you could quit. This would no doubt make your neighbor, their kids, and your partner happier, and you healthier. You currently have a divisive habit. Best of luck. Info. How much time do you spend smoking out there? Because if it's less than 1 hour, I think it's fair game, but if it's multiple hours. Speaking as someone who's sensitive to cigarette smoke, I don't think it's really fair to so drastically affect your neighbors also trying to enjoy their space. I think a lot of people are forgetting that the question is, are you the $1 hole? Yes. It's your property. Yes. You have the right to use it however you want. But YTA, you're partaking of a habit so nasty that your own partner won't put up with it and you are inflicting it on your neighbors and their children. Your smoking is affecting their ability to enjoy their own property. Yeah, you have that right, but it doesn't make you not be an $1. Nah, you're not doing anything wrong. But it's not like you can contain the smoke to your property. It does affect your neighbors negatively, and they have communicated that to you. I wouldn't want to be your neighbor either, because your smoking habit would diminish my ability to enjoy my own outdoor space. If your smoke is intruding on their yard, YTA, everyone acts like smoke stays in one place. You have a habit that takes others down with you. NTA, as much as I hate to say it, I hate the smell and it makes me nauseated. So I know if I was your neighbor I would probably hate you. But I wouldn't ask you to stop. You have a right to smoke on your own property. I personally would hate it enough to move though. There's always a risk that a new neighbor would smoke too. But at least it would probably be fewer than 8 times a day. You're allowed to smoke in your backyard. But I still think YTA morally. Not everybody wants to breathe in your poison. I also think YTA for assuming that your neighbor is complaining only because they see you. My neighbor smokes in their backyard, connects to my backyard, and I can easily smell it from my front yard. The smell travels much further than you believe it does. I can't stand the smell of cigarette smoke and would be highly annoyed if I had a neighbor who did this all the time. By your own admission, you're a heavy smoker. That means you're outside smoking throughout the day, not giving the other people in your neighborhood the opportunity to enjoy their properties smoke-free. If it was once in a while, that would be one thing. But all day, every day? Sorry, you're the asshole here. And by the way, the smell of cigarette smoke to non-smokers is much stronger than you think it is. When I'm outside, I can tell if there's someone in my vicinity who's smoking. I can also tell who's a smoker by the way their clothes smell. I guarantee you that if they are complaining, they can smell the smoke. That said, it is your property. Maybe you could work something out with the neighbors where you don't smoke at certain times. When the children are playing outside, they can't demand that you never smoke in your yard. But you shouldn't be exposing their children to unpleasant, cancerous chemicals. You're absolutely not doing anything illegal, and of course you're within your rights to smoke in the backyard. But the question is whether you're in awe for doing it. And I'd say yes. Forcing your neighbors to smell your smoke all day just sucks. Smokers never realize how strong it is or how far it travels. I'd hate to be your neighbor. That being said, it's your property and you have the right to be in awe on your own property. Your neighbor was within their rights to bitch about it to anyone she knows, but not to confront you. I might get annoyed when my neighbor smokes weed in his backyard. Legal here. But I would never say anything to him because he's allowed. even if it's rude. As someone allergic to smoke and thinks that it's a truly gross habit, I can say NTA. It's your property. I might be a bit pissed off if you're constantly out there, but it's still your property. YTA. Yes, legally you are well within your rights. But your neighbors do deserve to enjoy their yards without the stench of cigarette smoke. And yes, it reeks. It reaches much further than many smokers realize. 2. As a smoker, you don't notice it. I didn't when I smoked. But after I quit, I was shocked by how bad it smelled and how far it carried. Again, you are within your rights to smoke on your property. I'm not saying you are doing anything illegal, but you are negatively affecting the lives of your neighbors. So, do you totally have the right to do what you want in your own yard? Yes. But do I still say YTA? Indeed I do. Unless you live on a 5-acre lot. Standing in the middle of the yard does jackal for keeping the smoke out of your neighbor's yard. Your smoking affects the people around you. That's unavoidable. Stop pretending it doesn't. But smoking isn't something you can just turn off. It's both physically and psychologically addictive. I know it. You know it. So while you're attached to this habit, you're going to need to figure out how to handle other people's frustration at being forced to deal with your habit. YTA. Cigarette smoke is a strong smell, travels far, and has negative health impacts. As someone who has lived near heavy smokers before, it is absolutely awful. You don't have the right to so severely impact others on their own property. That's a part of community living. NTA. It's your garden. They can't police what you do on your property. If they want, they can keep their kids inside when they see you go for a smoke. But that's their responsibility. Your neighbor also went about this the rudest way possible.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. AmITheAsshole is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.